Welcome to the fiscal year 25 Explore Grantee Support Meeting. Congratulations on your award. We've designed this video presentation to orient you to this grant and guide you through some of its requirements and opportunities. Please note the email address on this slide. This is the shared inbox for all of our educator workforce grants. If you have questions about grant administration, we encourage you to email us here. I'm Jenny Dickens. I am the Grow Your Own consultant for the Office of Educator Excellence here at MDE. And Holly, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Holly Carruthers, and I am an educator recruitment contractor also with the Office of Educator Excellence in MDE.
Thank you. All right, so this presentation will address the fiscal year 2025 Section 504 grant. It will orient you to the grant's purposes, the allowable activities, grant budgeting. It'll give you information on a special additional funding opportunity and an overview of the models and curriculum available to you through Explore. So if this is your first time learning about the Future Proud Michigan Educator or Future PME initiative, you should know that the goal is to expand access to future teacher programming and to grow and diversify the educator workforce and reduce the educator shortages in Michigan. Last year, in fiscal year 2024, was our pilot year of the Explore Grants dual focus, which both of these have a shared goal to build, grow your own systems of support with continuity for future educators to return to their home districts to teach. The first focus, Focus 1, is a continuation of previous year's Explore Grants. It centers students in grades 6 through 12 and supports districts implementing and growing education career exploration programs for these students. Meanwhile, Focus 2 is the new addition. It centers staff who were graduates of District Explore programs and provides funds to districts to pay tuition costs for those Explore alumni in their first year or two of college who are taking coursework that will lead them into an educator preparation program with the hopes that they will return as teachers to the district. So please note that districts could apply for one or both of these focuses and that this presentation will address both. So all awarded districts were provided with a monitoring and guidance document via email, and these emails were sent to the contacts listed on the application. Today, for Series 1 of our support, we'll provide a brief overview of this monitoring and guidance document, but we'll focus specifically on grant activities and Explore curriculum. And in the upcoming video presentation, we'll focus on reimbursement and reporting. So please note any questions that pop up for you and bring them up at the Q&A session, or if you can't attend, you can also email them to us. And we encourage you to share the monitoring and guidance document as well as our technical assistance videos with the business office contact listed on your application. We found that this partnership makes this phase of the grant process much smoother and clearer for grantees. And we encourage you to share it with anybody else who is working with you on administering this grant. And again, that live Q&A date is February 25th from 3 to 4 p.m. for this first series. As a reminder about the timeline, the performance period of this grant aligns with the state's fiscal year, which is to say October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. No, October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. This means that while you may have just gotten your notification, all your Explore expenses were eligible after October 1st. So any expenses that you've incurred during the fiscal year associated with your Explore programs or any tuition or fees you paid on behalf of your Explore graduate staff is eligible for reimbursement through this year's grant award. Moving on to the grant activities. This grant, as a reminder, has two parts. You may have received funds for Explore student programs or for Explore staff programming or for both. This is a brief overview of the reimbursable activities associated with each of those programs. Here's a summary of the approved expenditures for each grant. So details can be found again in your monitoring and guidance document. However, we'd like to bring your attention to the staff tuition support call out on this slide, which we will come back to shortly. This year, we will have 3 reimbursement windows, each of which will correlate to a state aid payment. Our next series will address the process for reimbursement, which is also outlined for your information in the monitoring and guidance document. Join us on April 24th for the live Q&A about that series after it is sent. I'd like to highlight a few do's and don'ts for your budget. You may also notice a few notes in the monitoring and guidance document about those budget allocations. Please pay special attention to fund limits and non-duplication of funding. So again, you'll confirm your budget allocations. I'd like to bring your attention to the $10,000 per building limit and the $10,000 per candidate limit if you are providing tuition support via that focus number 2 for this grant. All right, to come back to the special opportunity, we want to draw your attention to this very important opportunity that is still available to grantees within this grant. So while most grantees requested funds for student programs, that is to say for students in grades 6 through 12, you can still request funds for tuition support for the graduates of your programs. That means that if any of your former Explore students are attending college with the intent to become teachers, you can help them to return to your district as a certified educator someday. If you can find part-time employment for these students within the fiscal year, they can qualify for up to $10,000 in tuition reimbursement for any costs that are incurred within that same fiscal year. It is not too late to request this support. So please reach out to us if you have any students in mind for this incredible opportunity. We are happy to walk you through any questions you might have about it. So if you or anyone on your team would like to ask questions about the Explore curriculum or receive consultation on your model selection or course design, please reach out directly to Holly Carruthers. And her email is listed there on that slide, and you'll be hearing from her very shortly. If you have any questions about grant administration or support, for example, allowable expenses, if you want to meet if you want guidance on budgets or reporting, please reach out to me, Jenny Dickens, at the email address shown on your screen, which is mde-workforcegrants@michigan.gov. With that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Holly.
Thanks, Jenny. I want to walk you through the Explore models and curriculum as part of this video so that you're prepared to ask questions or prepared to pass this along to the teachers in your respective districts that will be teaching this course so that they can also join us when it is time to have our live Q&A. So we're going to start with the next slide that asks, what is Explore? So Explore grants are an effort to reach 6th through 12th grade students through locally designed future educator programs. They expand upon available CTE programs throughout the state, allowing for earlier and more flexible access to future educator programming for all of our secondary students. Explore programs can be freestanding clubs or courses, and they can also be a part of a larger sequence of courses that leads to a CTE credential. On the next slide, we'll see resources for administrators, which MDE has created for all the school administrators to support program implementation, including 3 flexible models, a dedicated section of the Pupil Accounting Manual with unique course codes and unique flexibilities, as well as staffing guidance on our website. The resources for all of these administrator programmings can be found on the Future PME Explore website or linked here with the QR code. Very quickly, I'd like to talk about the course models. There are several ways to implement an Explore course, with exploratory being the most common model, but certainly not the only model. While MDE has provided detailed guidance on each of these models, it's important for a district to consider the best fit for their circumstances. Some districts may choose to move forward with building an elective course, but it's important to note that there are several ways to layer Explore into existing school structures. So for example, you can use the Explore lessons as activities for clubs or as supplements to existing school programs that are aligned in purpose. The MDE website will also provide you with a detailed description of each model and a chart comparing the opportunities and challenges within each model. This is a great place to start when considering what is the best fit model for your school or district. When you're choosing a model, MDE encourages all districts to consider ways to maximize access to the programs. So this means considering the populations of students who may not otherwise have access to the content because of their age, geographical location, schedule, or financial resources. Explore models are accommodating enough to provide early access to programs that lead to other related courses, or flexible access to individual students who experience barriers to the existing programs. Our previous grantees were each able to design a program that was tailored to their local interests. MDE is happy to provide you with examples of these unique implementation designs to help you consider ways to maximize your efforts. These are also featured on our website. While Explore programs can be designed to meet individual needs and interests, we also encourage you to hold key features constant. Research suggests that programs that have these key features are more likely to be successful, which is why they were the driving force in creating the Explore resources. The features are listed here on the page, but essentially you want to combine instructional and clinical experiences so that students can recognize instructional moves and reflect on the direct experience working with learners. You want to recognize the critical role of teacher selection, and MDE provides some key considerations for selecting an instructor of the program. You want to build infrastructure to provide ongoing support to your teachers. They sometimes feel isolated in this experience. You want to provide targeted student support at the high school and college level for the purpose of retention so that students aren't lost in those transitions. You want to center equity and social justice in the curriculum to attract a broader set of students who can see themselves as change agents in their own communities. You can want to build direct access to college access information and empower students with readiness about the curriculum that will be delivered to them once they're in teacher preparation. And then you want to promote flexibility in credit allowance and leverage some partnerships between K-12 and higher education. And that's a key element of this grant opportunity. Once you have selected a model, it's time to design the student learning experience. The Explore curriculum was developed to provide a broad introduction to educational strategies, systems, and professions. It is not a one-stop shop where students will learn everything about teaching. It's instead a place to inspire an interest in an educational career. The curriculum was derived from the Michigan Professional Standards for Teacher Preparation, and it features Michigan-specific instructional resources. Whether you're implementing courses or a club or an out-of-school time program, the Explore curriculum is an essential tool for the grantees to use. The 6 major units of the Explore curriculum reflected our priority to not only grow, but to diversify the workforce. The curriculum is based on a similar effort from Washington State, which specifically targets students of color, bilingual students, and first-generation college students. These units were originally designed for a semester-long course, but they can easily be adapted into a trimester or a year-long course. MDE also recommends select lessons for clubs and out-of-school time programs, which you saw on a previous slide, as well as the opportunity to build those things into professional learning for educators as they prepare their clubs courses. The curricular resources are web-based, and therefore they're available for integration into your local learning management system. So for example, if you use Google Classroom or Schoology or Moodle, they are also available as a freestanding virtual course with Michigan Virtual. Each version of the course can be tailored to the grade level, locale, and learning needs of the students that are enrolled. Teachers will be expected to differentiate, extend, and enhance the curriculum with their own knowledge and expertise. Excuse me. Okay. In creating the Explore resources for instructors, MDE wanted to reduce the burdens that are typically associated with creating a new course. So we have this full set of curricular resources for you and for your teachers to develop their courses. The professional learning modules that we've created also walk the teachers through these resources, and the instructors are encouraged to reach out directly to me if they need any help navigating the resources, because there are so many and it can be overwhelming at first. Most of the resources are available in this hashtag GoOpen collection. GoOpen is an open access source site, so we have everything published there for free. It includes a curriculum map, a few professional learning modules for those who don't need sketches, and all 33 of the student learning modules, which can be integrated into your LMS or just used as activities in clubs and courses. Each of the student learning modules that I mentioned, all 33 of them, includes this series of elements: objectives, key terms, several different segments of instruction that support the learning. The modules use videos, interactive websites, and standard text as forms of instruction. All the lessons end with an interactive practice component that is related to the assessment for that lesson. So each module can be independently navigated by a student, But MDE recommends several layers of support for student learning and includes a teacher of record to give feedback and a clinical mentor to support the student's practice. The Explore curriculum also has suggested student learning assessments, which start with a practice activity at the end of each module. The activity helps students assess their understanding of the lesson, and it prepares them for a multiple choice assessment if it's being administered. All the lesson assessments build towards a portfolio entries that prepare the students for a unit assessment and build towards a final growth portfolio. While the assessments are not provided in Go Open, they are provided in the professional learning and via email upon request. Recently, MDE revised the professional learning for Explore to create two separate course opportunities. The first course is considered a foundations course, which is valuable for any teacher working with young aspiring educators. The topics include things like being a teacher educator, Michigan educator preparation programs, the Explore program, and its facilitation. The course also provides access to all of the Google-based assessments that educators can modify for their own courses. The Foundations course can be taken for sketch credit, or it can be reviewed in those resources in Go Open that I identified earlier. There's no cost for either option. The second course is a planning course, and so that's specifically for Explore instructors. The professional learning course is best for teachers. This course is best for teachers who need sketch credit for their planning or who like a structured approach to planning. It provides an opportunity to analyze each student module, create a planning and pacing guide for the instructor's unique version of the course, and offer feedback to MDE about the course content. It is hosted exclusively in the Michigan virtual site. It is also cost-free, but it is not on Go Open. So, as a quick reminder, if you or anyone on your team would like to ask questions, please direct your questions to both Jenny and I. For grant support, you can direct your questions to Jenny, and for program support, you can direct your questions to me. And one last plug, we want to give you one final reminder about our live Q&A, which will be on February 25th at 3 p.m. This will be held virtually via Zoom, and we'll be able to answer any questions you might have about the Explore grants and the Explore programs. You're also welcome to invite any of your other team members, including the teachers that you have identified for your clubs and courses. So that concludes our opportunity to introduce you to the grant that you've received, some of the parameters around it. We hope that this was helpful, and we hope to see you at our live Q&A on February 25th.